Hello there. Welcome back to Tales from Tosche Station. Well, guys, this is a different breakdown because I got a guest. Friend, friend of the program, Ashton Sharrett from the Space Opera Music Podcast. How you doing, buddy?
Doing so good, man. It's always a pleasure to be on Tales from Tosche Station. So it's an honor to be back on, dude. Great
Thank-
hanging out with you as always.
it's gonna be a good one, and
Yeah,
we've got a fun little episode to get into.
we
But
sure do.
before I do that, hey Chewy, do me a favor, punch this thing. All right. Well, let's kick this thing off, shall we? So we open the episode with OSHA waking up, or as my wife so elegantly calls her, occupational hazard, because that's what
Right.
she's named after. She's named after OSHA. So OSHA wakes up in a cave, and she's all healed up, and we kind of just find one of May. She finds one of May's daggers and some of her clothes, puts it on as she goes to find Chimera on what is dubbed the unknown planet.
Yes.
So
Now,
let's get into that. What do you think this unknown planet is? Because I've
dude,
seen some rumblings.
yeah, there's some rumblings. I'm definitely on the I forgot the name of it all of a sudden. It's the Legends planet where Cortosis
Tenebris
is.
and Tenebris and Plagueis.
Yeah,
Give
that
me
one. I
a
think
second.
it starts with a B, I think.
We're getting roasted in the comments. So
Yes. So sorry. I'm not a real fan, I guess.
yeah, let's just revoke our fan cards.
Ah, go to fan jail.
One second. Is it new? Come on, give me something. I can't find it. It's I'm having a hard time finding it. But anyways, it's I know what planet it is. It's the planet that Plagueis and Tenebris start out on in the Plagueis novel.
Right.
That's I if you can find it, please
Yeah,
in in
I'll keep looking.
interject. But
Yeah.
anyways, so what did you? So when we started the episode, what did you think of it in the first few minutes?
So I just found it. It is the planet called Baldimnik.
Valdimnic, thank you. Yeah.
Baldimnik. And they had like caves that had natural cortosis deposits.
Mm-hmm. It was like it's essentially like Dragonstone
Yeah,
in Game of Thrones. It's that same kind of thing where it has the whole planet is essentially created by this rare metal, which is of course
right.
cortosis. So
Right. I'm in that camp. I really want it to be that planet. I think that would,
mhm,
I think that is it's got to be what it is. Like just the
yeah,
direction that this show is headed. That's got to be it. At first though, just the sheer scenery, I was like,
it was Octu.
is this?
It's
Yeah,
got
I
to be
was like,
Octu.
what?
Yeah,
Which like
yeah. I
that
saw.
could have been cool too, but
Yeah, but it wouldn't have made sense canonically because that's
yeah,
the why would a Sith be hanging out on the essentially the first or like the first or second planet that the Jedi ever inhabited? Why would he be there?
right,
And then we as we go on, she's following Chimera as we then cut to uh the thing about this episode that killed me was the pacing was all over the place, and
Mm.
it starts out very quickly with we cut to Kofar with May and Soul leaving the planet as Soul tries to radio to Coruscant and telling everyone telling the Jedi that everyone's dead. And the funny thing that found the thing that I found interesting was he cuts himself off before he says a Sith or like whatever he was about to say. He stopped himself and said, "Everyone I came with got killed." He didn't say there was an attack. He didn't say there's a Sith sighting. He just said everyone got killed, and that's
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
So I find that really interesting, and what Vernestra and that other Jedi Master kind of put together at the end towards the end of the episode. Which don't worry, we'll get to that later down the line. What did you think about that when when he just kind of stopped and just kind of made something up on the fly like that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually did not catch that. I need to
Hmm.
rewatch that scene specifically. I did not feel that way when I first watched it. I was just like waiting for Soul to like figure out how the heck to describe what just happened. You know, like
Yeah,
he was like pretty visibly in like a state
shock.
of shock and trauma, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I was just like, how is he gonna word all of this? You know, so yeah, I would yeah, I'm curious to watch that scene now to see like yeah, him cutting himself off from saying who they were attacked by, you know.
Or what it
Um,
was. Yeah.
yeah, or what it was. Um, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's super cool because it leaves it totally in mystery for the Jedi Council,
Hmm.
or not the Council, but the Vernestra crew, to like speculate. They don't really know anything. Um, so I do like that. Um, and it was pretty cool to see Soul's, he's totally shaken up. Like just to see
Yeah.
his performance, like he's out of it, dude.
Which we get, in the next, well, not the next scene, but so essentially May tries to sneak up, tries to kill him. She gets cut off as Soul turns around, tells May to go reset the trans go reset the trans the he's going to go reset the transceiver as he tells May to
Right.
essentially take the wheel. And the thing that I liked about this moment is when he's resetting everything, he gets a moment truly to himself, and we see that he goes, I would say, goes down into despair, anger, and like you said earlier, like shock and trauma. Like he doesn't
Mhm.
know what the heck is going on, and he doesn't know how to process it. Or at least that's how it looked like to me.
Yeah. No, totally, dude. Yeah, and I don't I can't pinpoint the exact moment that Soul like fully realizes that it's May on board.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a little
don't
weird.
I don't know, like, I can't pinpoint exactly when that realization fully comes to. For me, I know some people are like, "How could Soul, like, not sense May and stuff?" For me, I mean, 1, just, like, the trauma aspect of things, like, he's
Yeah,
totally
he's not thinking straight. I mean, she even
right,
says it later in the episode. You only see the things that you want to see.
right.
And when you're in a and I mean, speaking personally, when you're in a moment like that, a moment of high stress, you don't know what your name is. Like if you've ever been in a situation like that, where it's a high stress situation like that, you don't know which way's up. So
Yeah,
it
and
would
it's
make
not like
sense.
right, and it's not like they're in, the climax of the Clone Wars seeing death every day, like, this is a very foreign,
thing. It's
thing that Soul has gone through. So yeah, there's that aspect of things, but also really, I think that May kind of haunts Soul in a way ever since the events with the Coven. You know,
mhm,
like I don't think like she is haunting him, but I think he is just haunted by the memory of May.
of what happened. Yeah, and
You know, and yeah, and I think that accompanies a lot of. I think that is a lot of the guilt that he carries with him on a daily basis, and so yeah, I mean, you know, that combined with the trauma that he's going through, totally, I was totally fine with him being washy on is this May or Osha at first,
yeah.
you know,
So
yeah.
and I kind of want to just get this out of the way, just to get it out. So the what did you think about the campy bits of the episode? By that I mean the whole Basil, however you can pronounce that thing's name, Basil and Pip's little Home Alone sketch with May.
Basil.
What how yeah how
I
what you
mean,
think of that? What you think of that whole thing?
it's the best they could do. Basil's this little gopher thing, like
Beaver or something or another?
beavers, whatever, you know, like he did the best he could do. And Pip is like
I want
dis
one.
dismantled. Oh, I so want a Pip, but like, yeah, Pip is dismantled, like just using the tools that Pip can, and yeah, I didn't have an issue with it. It was fun. It was whatever, you know. Like,
It was. I honestly felt it was a little out of place,
see,
but
I thought it was the best choreography we've gotten in the entire Star Wars saga. That fight scene.
I love it. All right, so let's cut back to the unknown planet as it is called.
Mhm.
So we cut back there,
Yeah, lots of back
and
and forth in this one.
OSHA is following the stranger or Chimere. I think he's technically right here. He's called the stranger. That's at least that's what it said when while
Yeah,
I was watching with the captions on.
I think Chimere is the alter ego, like
The Sidious, I mean the
the
Palpatine
Palpatine.
to
Yeah.
yeah,
So
the
the
Palpatine
stranger. Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
Sidious. Yep, yep.
For sure, for sure.
I got you. So we cut back there, and well, something that I noticed, and it gets touched on later in the episode. The first thing I noticed when we see Kymer taking his robes off to go take a bath is that wicked little back scar
Dude, let's talk about
he
this.
had. Let's delve into it. So we get more insight to it in the at the end of the episode,
Mhm.
but and I'm not very well versed on the High Republic, but I do know that Vernestra has a lost Padawan or had one, and there's a rumor that I saw or something speculation that I saw earlier today that that Chimere is that lost Padawan, or
Right.
that or that or that Venestra did something to Chimere as when he was a Jedi to essentially give him that scar. That's the rumor that I've been
I
seeing.
mean, look at that scar and look at the he said it was a lightsaber, right?
No, no,
What
mm-mm.
lightsaber
I don't. I don't think he outright said. There's
did he
a
say
lot of
lightsaber or no?
mm-mm,
No?
mm-mm.
Okay, okay.
A lot of what the stranger says in this episode his
Mm,
was is just up to interpretation. He doesn't and he answers no questions. None.
dang, dude.
So
Okay, so he did not say lightsaber.
mhm,
Okay. No, that's good to know because yeah, like after the episode, I was like, or you know, whenever he was mentioning that that was from his former master, I was like, yo, that scar is not just like a
that's
stab
correct.
wound, like that's
Well,
a whip, you know, like that's
yeah.
a squiggly.
I've got my own theories on that, which I'll touch on once we get to that part of the episode.
Cool, cool,
So
cool. Yeah.
the thing that I noted, like something that I noticed when, as as um as he's swimming around getting in the water, OSHA's OSHA sneaks up behind him, grabs his saber, and
Mhm.
the moment she picks it up, he's like, "Feels good, doesn't it? Holding the saber in your hand, doesn't it?" And we get a little of a comedic scene between the two of them where he's essentially critiquing her on her stance and her form, correcting her blocking stance as he comes out of the water and says, "Hey, if you're not going to join me, at least let me get out and put my clothes on." So there was a lot of weirdly timed humor in this episode. That bit didn't bother me, but as far as in terms of Star Wars, it was a little bit, I'll say, steamy. That was at least that's the best way I can describe it. It's the most one of the steamier scenes we've seen in Star Wars. I mean, we're essentially perceived to think that he's completely naked in front of her, which I mean he's not, but that that's the way that the blocking and the framing of the scene looked. So
Dude, I totally think he was completely nude. I
I wouldn't be
legitimately
surprised. I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
I took that scene that way. And yeah, I mean it wasn't I mean Han and Leia aren't naked in the Millennium Falcon when she's trying to fix the thing and she's like, my hands are
Yeah,
dirty. And he's like, mine are too. But I mean, that's pretty steamy, right? Like,
yeah. And then
so
and then C-3PO walks in and just breaks it up, and Han
right,
is very mad. But
right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, for me, it was whatever. I think a lot of that was just Khmer I
Chimera the
Chimere.
Stranger, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
get you.
dude, there are like so many pronunciations of his name, but yeah, a lot of that was just him messing with OSHA,
Yeah, yeah.
just
That yeah,
totally
that was
messing with her.
that's what I was getting to. Like he was the stuff nothing that he did around her was not intentional.
Right.
That's what I noticed through even through my first watch through. Everything he did was to chip away at her
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
bit by bit.
Yeah.
And we even get and even the lines that he says to her when she's holding the saber, he says he he's telling her that if you kill me in battle, it's one thing, but if you kill me now, it's vengeance. Like where's that line? And
Yeah.
she starts to interrogate him essentially about Sol and May as he remarks saying, "Interesting that you mentioned him first, not your sister."
Mhm.
As he goes on to talk about the special relationship and this is something that I noticed. He doesn't say Sith and Acolyte. He doesn't say Master and Padawan. He
Mm.
says Master and Pupil.
That's
He
cool.
doesn't he doesn't use
Yeah.
Jedi or Sith distinctions there.
Right.
He he just uses like the base terms, which again, that's he's manipulating her, and we see that come to come complete at the very end of the episode. Which, trust me, we're gonna get to that. So, but what'd you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was super cool. I think the psychological games that he's playing, are pretty cool to like to watch that dynamic unfold. I think I think it's pretty masterful how he's not only like chipping away at her in like psychologically speaking, like breaking down her walls, but also kind of making her come to him a little bit, like kind
Mhm.
of letting down his guard, in a
Slightly,
way.
very,
Y- y-
very
I
slightly.
mean, yeah, like obviously like super slightly, but like letting down his guard in the way that he's like, like his whole comment, of, well, if you're not going to join me, like I would like to put some clothes on. Like it's a very human thing. Like it kind of like breaks the ice a little bit. Like it kind of, if I were Osho, it would kind of make me like turn my head like, oh, like,
What?
are you like not trying to kill me? Like, what's going on here? You know, it would just kind
Yeah,
of make me
it
wonder.
it would
So
catch you off guard. Yeah,
yeah, so I think a lot of that, I just think it's a pretty masterful balance of a lot of different ways to like bring someone onto your side of things, that are at play here. I think it's done pretty well, actually.
and then he walks off as we cut back to the ship again,
Okay.
and we get Soul talking to as he thinks is Osha. He's talking to May, and he says to her that she saved him, and that the stranger corrupted her sister, and he goes on this little mini spiel. I think this is mostly just the grief of he's still processing what just happened, and he says, "All right, that's it. I'm coming clean. I'm going to Coruscant. I'm gonna tell the High Council everything." And she looks at him with like he's got two heads and says, "You're gonna tell him everything, everything."
Yeah, and
So,
see, right there, whenever I watched it, I was like, "Oh, Soul totally knows that he's hugging May right now," and
mhm.
it just felt like that to me. I don't know. Where did you feel like Soul was like, "Oh, this is May"? Because I
I
felt like it
was
was right there.
yeah, I was thinking right there because
Like he
I just
purposefully hugs her, and then like the things that he says just to like
I
kind
think
of
I think the reaction that it got out of her when he says that he's going to tell the council everything. I think that's might have been the first tell of. I don't think he knew yet,
yeah, okay.
but he understands that that that's probably not OSHA, because this is the same scene where he tells her that, you
Yeah.
know, that you only see what you want to see. You're blinded to it, because in this same uh scene, he starts off saying, "How did I not know that was him? That was him on Olega?" And wait a minute.
Right.
Trying to make sure. I think I'm out. You know what? It doesn't matter. Um, as 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 we see the power die as
Mhm.
May goes to check the power, and then we cut again. Now we cut to Coruscant, which this is the part of the episode I kind of just didn't. I personally I didn't care about, because
Oh, really?
yeah, because like my thing is like I I want to know what's going on with with the characters that we're involved with, and we get a quick little uh scene with Vanessa talking to a senator, saying,
Mhm.
um, talking about an investigation into the Jedi. I didn't really catch it. That's my fault. But she gets told
Almost like an
about
audit or something. Yeah.
yeah. It was an audit on the Jedi Council, and another Jedi Master comes in, tells Vernestra about the transmission, and that she immediately scrambles a team to go to Kofar to get things figured out. What did you think? What did you think about this scene? I think that
Yeah.
this was again we start to see the cracks in the foundation of the Jedi Order here, just ever so slightly.
Totally, dude. Like, yeah, I think it's because we haven't seen Vernestra in like the home base. We haven't seen it in a couple of episodes now, I think.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think it'll be nice to go back through and like actually just binge the entire season that
yeah.
way.
I'm gonna yeah. Once this ends, I'm gonna watch all eight
For
episodes
sure, dude.
and see how the pacing is, because the thing that's been, and I'm not the only person that's had this gripe. I can name our friends, but we don't have that much time, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. The thing that kills me about this show is the pacing.
Mm,
It's all over the place. They'll have good moments here and there, but I said it earlier today on Beyond the Dune Seas post on Instagram. It's like we're on a roller coaster. Like it's like we'll get big moments and then we're dropping. And it's
Hmm.
just it's the pacing's all over the place. And I think at this point, with how far we are and we still have no answers, I think it's doing them more of a disservice than it is anything else.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate that stance. I feel like this whole episode, I was pretty on edge. Like I feel like the suspense, like we had a pretty big climax, obviously, in last week's episode, of course, but this week I think was kind of like rebuilding some suspense
Mm-hmm.
and intrigue. Um, like specifically with I don't know, like Vernestra's reaction. There's just like a lot of red flags I have on Vernestra right now. Like her reaction to like the transmission cutting out and stuff, like her wanting to get a team together, and maybe even more so her reaction once they get to Kofar. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just have some weird vibes about Vernestra. I don't trust her
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all.
I'm getting that same. I'm getting that same vibe. It's
And so it's like for me,
something's off.
yeah. And so for me, like it's it's pretty suspenseful. Because now they're looking for Soul. And we don't know what the intended end goal of finding Soul is, in their eyes. So, that's
I think.
building.
I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, you're good.
I think honestly, how this is gonna end. I think one or two things is gonna happen, or these two things might happen at the same time. Soul gets killed, and he gets blamed for the Kofar incident. Everything gets swept under the rug, and then there's Sith. What are you talking about? There's no Sith. It's peaceful. There's no Sith. There hasn't been any Sith for millennia. What are you talking about? So
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going.
I mean, because
So
they truly don't know anything, because that transmission with Soul wasn't super
it wasn't
informative.
clear. It was not clear at all. They couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, and you can hear the speculation of like, oh, did Master Soul like break? Like, is this his
Is it?
doing?
Did he do this? Yeah.
Yeah,
And the next thing we get after that little bit is we cut back to the planet, and Kymir reveals himself as a former Jedi, as Osha just writes it off. It's like, I don't know. I was a Jedi as well. You weren't there. I don't know who you are. You've got to be lying. As he says to her, it was a very
a
long
very
time
long time
ago.
ago. Yeah,
As as she then says, "Well, if why'd you bring me here then?" And he says, "Well, everyone seems to want you, so leverage essentially." As she remarks that Soul's connection to the Force is powerful, and that's gonna get that's going to bring him to her. And he turns around and is like, "Actually, that's your strength, not his." So again, I still think that's him. I think he's telling the truth, but at the same time, he's still playing games with her. He's still playing mind games with her,
well,
trying to essentially poke the bear.
and not only that, but it's also in a way, um, one, a compliment, and two, something that she obviously didn't realize before. And so it's kind of like Kylo's line to Rey, like, "You're nothing, but
But you're not.
but
You're
you're not to me," or just some whatever
yeah
he
yeah
says.
yeah. He says you're nothing. but not to me.
But not to me. Yeah, it's
That's
that
exactly what he says.
same. Yeah, it's like that same function. Is how I took that. Like that's actually your power, and yeah, I don't know that's how I took that line, um, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, totally playing with her, breaking down the walls, but also in a way that's like you should trust me more than you trust
Yeah.
your revered soul figure, and I can show you, what you've been wanting this whole
Well,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
As we already talked about this. We come back to the ship. Basil and Pip ambush May. Like we said, played played for laughs. Pip squirts, I think, like oil or some kind of fuel or something in
something.
her face, and she fights off Basil. He scurries away. She factory resets Pip, essentially making him evil. And she then she tells Pip to check the power, resets it, gives it about 5 minutes. And like we said, it was. I mean, that was fine. It just, I think it just cut it was meant to cut the tension, and I just think it was a little goofy. I mean, I chuckled at it, but that just felt very, very out of place. It was funny, but it would just, I think it was misplaced. Is all.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I can appreciate that because the whole episode was very like tense and serious, at least to me, like in tone, very like um yeah, tense, I guess. So yeah, definitely there to cut the tension. It was it was like I kind of I stacked it up in my head to like the one-liners during the Battle of Geonosis, right? Like people, Jedi are dying left and right, and we get like, "Oh, this is such a drag," like
Yeah.
as 3PO is rolling through the sand. It's like that kind of stuff. I feel like it's pretty common in Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
that slapstick stuff from R2 and 3PO. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like
that makes sense.
it's not uncommon, or it's not like new, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just objectively speaking, it's definitely, yeah, a lighter, funnier scene in a pretty dark and intense dialogue wise episode.
hmm And we get a we and this is one of my favorite parts of this episode. This next scene is Osha essentially believes that without training, her ability in the Force fades away as Chimera tells her that's not the truth. That's only the way that the Jedi taught you, and he essentially goes down the dark side rabbit hole that, if you use your anger, your desire, your pain, you can get you can get your power that way. It's easier to get it that way. As as she says, that's the path of the dark side. As they she resists for a second, and there's an interesting back and forth between them where she says you killed Yord and Jackie. He turns around and says, "Whoa, whoa, time out. Yord would have turned you in at the first sign of trouble, and your relationship with Jackie, it was one sided. You knew that it could only go so far." And they walk out. She walks off. As she leaves, she still got the saber in her hand, and this is where she breaks.
Hmm.
He confronts her and says, "Why do you still think of yourself as a Jedi?" And she finally breaks. She lashes out, says that she failed, and I thought she was going to kill him
I
when
know,
this
dude.
happened. I've never seen someone get that close at gunpoint with a lightsaber, and it was.
It
What
was
did you think?
it was
Like
pretty intense.
from that first monologue all the way down to like her
Yeah.
having him at gunpoint. Like it was that was a That was the
Yeah.
best scene in this entire episode.
Yeah, I mean, all of his dialogue was phenomenal. But yeah, that particular scene where she does finally break, and yeah, like, a lot happened there because not only does she break and she knows it, but she's also like the visual representation of that is holding someone at lightsaber point with a red blade,
And I
like
noticed something. I noticed the something. It's very slight, but I noticed it. The lightsaber is a little unstable. Like the blade itself looks a little unstable. Like or maybe I just made that up. But the way that I was looking at it is when she had him like by the neck, like the lightsaber, the blade seemed a little unstable. I was like, is that a visual representation of her anger right now? So
dude, that
it
that
was,
would be cool. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, like if it's like a little bit shaky or something,
yeah.
um, that would be kind of cool. Yeah. Um, no, that was a pretty powerful scene, I think, because yeah, she did finally break, and that's where Kymir just like waltzes right in. I forgot the dialogue that he says to her, but puts his hand on her arm and like basically just he has her, like
Yeah,
he has her.
it's the just Soul and Chimere so far in this show are they need to have back surgery after this show's done because their backs must be hurting. It must. I mean they're carrying the show. Like it's I can't. And I said this to you privately when Manny Jacinto posted the video of him training for the lightsaber fight. He's I mean his dedication to the craft is something that I am going to appreciate for years to come as much as he's poured into this character and just the dedication to the role. It's something I've thoroughly enjoyed watching.
Yeah, like he legitimately loves this character. You can tell. And I mean, dude, all of them do. Like Daphne, all of them. Like they put in so much work. Like I don't know if any of them had previous saber training, like formal saber training
Mhm.
before the show, and they all just like you can you can see the
You can
dedication and like
yeah.
the love that they have for each of their characters. Um, and I think it comes through on screen. I've been enjoying everything for the most part. Like yeah, there are there are some nitpicky things with each episode, I think, but yeah, overall I've been enjoying it quite a bit.
Mhm.
Everyone has brought something to the table that's been pretty substantial in my opinion.
Yeah. And then we cut back to the ship and we already kind of touched on this. This is the part where Soul and May have the back and forth with Soul essentially beating himself up, saying that how did he not see him on a leg at, and
Mhm,
how
mhm.
did he not sense it? And May
Right.
tells him that you only see the things that you want to see, and when you're that focused on something, it kind of clouds your mind. And I think, me personally, I think that's where the light bulb finally went off
Mm,
after she tells him that. That's when everything kind of snaps back into focus. Then he realizes, wait a minute, you're not the right twin. You're not the one. You're not the one I want.
yeah.
So I like we said earlier. That's a I think that's a good explainer because that does make sense. And everyone's gonna have their opinions. I know people are saying, well, he should have sensed him or yada yada yada. And but then like we said before, if you're in a high stress situation like that, if you've ever been in a high stress situation like that, either grief ridden, anxiety ridden, pick your emotion. If you're in that spot and you can't think straight. Like I said earlier, you don't know what your name is. You don't know which direction's up. So you can't even see 5 feet in front of you. So
Well, that, and I really think that Osha and May in Soul's mind at this point, I think Osha and May are kind of a wash in his
yeah,
mind, just like the wash of guilt and all the negative emotions that he carries with him on a daily basis. I think that alone, would cloud his mind, even if whenever it is Osha. I think, just like the weight of the guilt that he carries with both of their names in his head, I think, that's enough reason alone. But yeah, pile on the trauma that he just went through on top of it. I'm totally fine with a delayed, um,
response.
yeah, a delayed realization that it's May. Yeah, whatever. I'm totally fine with
Spe-
that.
Speaking of which, the parrot comes back on.
Hmm.
She tells him that. Well, I'm skipping, but she tells him that she lost a lot of herself to become a Jedi, and he apologizes, saying that he's sorry, saying that he's sorry, essentially about how he taught her. As she questions him about Brendock, saying that you can tell me everything now. I'm not a child anymore. As the power comes back on, and I think, and this is the moment that I think he knew. As soon as the power comes back on, she darts. I mean, she just beelines towards the bridge. She's about to say something. He stuns her
Hmm.
as Soul uh, kicks the ship into hyperspace as Vernestra and the Jedi recovery
Dude,
team show up.
crazy and super telling. Like Soul knows what's about to go down if Vernestra and crew find them. Like they're out of there,
Yeah,
So that was pretty tense for me, because that means like Soul is
he's on the
putting,
run essentially at this point.
yeah, he's on the run. He's put in a really, really awkward position now. And yeah, I think that was so intense, or suspenseful. I mean, that's the right word. That was really suspenseful for me. Um, if something that this episode set up, I guess.
Yeah, as they land on Kofar, we get a little bit of an explainer that there was a moth nest that got rustled up the night before, and that could explain why there were so many casualties. Yada yada yada. As they make their way into the forest, as we cut back to the unknown planet for the umpteenth time, as the stranger tells Osha that he made a mistake with her sister, thinking that re- she just wanted revenge, where he wants the power of two, and I think
Right.
what he's talking about is the Sith rule of two. I think that's what he's talking about. And I've got a
Yeah.
we're gonna get into theories after we break down the episode, but I've got an interesting theory about him, and it bridges two theories that are
Mm,
going around. So
cool.
what what did you think of this scene? What did you think about
Yeah. I'll be curious to hear your theories.
it? They're always good. So
Yeah.
as we get a little bit of an explainer on his helmet. It's a cortosis helmet
Right.
that acts as a sensory deprivation device, like they used as younglings. And the
Yeah.
funny thing, he says a line that that stuck with me, that we've heard before from a certain Jedi master. He says, "It's just you. It's just the Force, and what you take with you." What
Mhm.
other Jedi master has said that, Ashton? Those lines.
Grandmaster, slightly deranged Yoda on Dagobah.
Yep, right before he goes. And funny enough, something I noticed before Luke goes into a cave, and where's this scene happening?
Hmm.
Happening
Exactly.
in a cave.
Exactly.
And then we cut back Well, he says that maybe you should try my helmet on, as he tells her. She tells him that that she doesn't trust him, as he just walks off and says, "Maybe you should trust yourself." And he just leaves.
Hmm.
The devil leaves the room, and I think that last little bit of, here's this apple,
Yeah,
don't
dude.
eat it, don't eat the apple, I'm gonna leave.
So good.
So I think that was the last temptation of, here's this thing, maybe you should try it on, but if you don't, that's cool too, and just leaves.
Yeah, I was legitimately bracing myself for a jump scare when she put it on, and we just like
I was
hear her
thinking
like
Tenebris.
heavy
I was
breathing,
like, she's gonna put this thing on, and Tenebris is gonna be right in front of her face.
something like
That's what's
that,
gonna
dude. Or
happen.
like or like Abeloth jumps out or something. Like I don't
Yeah,
even
I
know,
did.
dude. Like I was like doing this, like watching that.
Yeah, I was, I
Yeah,
was, I was worried. As
for sure.
the last little bit of the episode, we cut back to Kofar. The Jedi rescue team surveys the bodies, the damage, everything. Vernestra's, I think she's using psychometry to
Mhm.
hear everything that's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
As they essentially, this is the story that they put together, that a fallen Jedi, or something to tip the scales, which I think something to that line. But I think, like I said earlier, um I think the official story is a fallen Jedi killed all these Jedi and left, and that's going to be the official story that they run with.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to report back with. I truly don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. And the thing that we saw in the episode, the one quick thing that we saw was Vernestra's lightsaber whip,
Yeah.
which if you paid attention to the High Republic novels and comics, I knew that was a thing, and I knew that the character that had it was going to appear. The only problem that I had is the uh, the lightsaber hilt was about as big as this Pringle can. It
Oh,
was about
really?
it was about this thick. So
Dang, I
the
didn't get a good
so
look at it.
yeah, no, the prop itself was
Is
freaking
there
huge.
is there a still of that,
I
like,
I would
floating
I would
around?
I would think so, but it's just,
Huh, I
that
didn't
thing
catch
was,
that.
the width of that thing was giant.
I'll have to go
So
back and, look at that. That's interesting.
yeah, it's crazy. And then we get the last little bits of the episode, which I really enjoyed these last two scenes, where May's cuffed, and Soul tells her that, I've had 16 years to think about this moment. What I would say to you, what I would say to you if I ever had the chance. And right now, you're gonna listen. You're gonna
Mhm.
listen to everything I've got to tell you. Which, I mean, cues up what's gonna happen in next week's episode. Next week's We've got 2 episodes left.
Yep.
Next week's gonna be the flashback, like the full
Yep.
flashback of what actually happened.
Totally,
So
dude.
I just I'm thinking it's gonna be we're gonna get Soul and um Chimera kind of telling the same story from different angles, so you're not really sure which
Oh,
one
that'd
to
be cool.
believe. So,
That'd be cool.
but yeah, I think things are gonna get really weird next week. But we'll talk about them. We'll talk about that here in a second, and then we get the last shot of the episode with Osha. Osha, um, slowly putting on the helmet,
So cool.
as we see her with the helmet on, as I believe, and I'm going to ask the John Williams of the group here. I believe we hear Kylo's theme one last time right before she puts the helmet on.
Oh shoot!
I
I
think
think you're right. I
yeah.
I would need to watch it again. I would need to watch it again to see like exactly where, because like we heard it a lot during this episode.
Hmm.
Um, that feels right, but I would need to like go back and rewatch it again. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, if you heard it, I mean, it's a pretty recognizable
Yeah.
theme. If you heard it, yeah, I mean, let's go with that
So
for now. Yeah.
this is my official theory of what Chimera is.
Actually,
The,
before this
yeah,
theory,
go ahead.
I want to show you this really quick.
Yeah.
I
Let me
just
see if
got
I
this
can.
pulled up.
Yeah, let me.
There we go. So we can see her fingers. Like
Yeah,
she's
but I
gripping
mean,
it.
it's yeah, but it's still. I mean, it's still pretty. It's still pretty big.
Pretty big, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But
Cool. Anyway, so yeah,
but
theory
no.
time. Let's hear it.
So let's dive down the rabbit hole. So I think that Chimera is is a is a Sith apprentice
Hmm.
that's splintered off. So technically speaking, he is a Sith, just like Leslie said,
Hmm.
but he's a Sith. He's a Sith that's splintered off
Right.
to become the first, not the first Ren.
That would make complete sense.
So
So he
that
doesn't consider himself a Sith, but like he is, but
yeah,
he's trying to break himself from that
he's
role.
trying to break from the Jedi and the Sith, and then
Hmm.
he starts the Splinter Order, which is the Knights of Ren.
Yeah,
And
I can dig that.
um, I think this is my official prediction for the last episode. I think we see Tenebris. I think we might see Plagueis.
Dude.
But I think we're going to we're definitely going to see at least one of them, because Leslie Headland has come out and said we're getting a Legends character. Which Legends character? We don't know. So,
Right.
but there's two prominent Legend characters that Star Wars fans hold in very high esteem that are alive at this point in time. So I don't know, man.
I don't know either, dude. I don't know either. I think it's gonna be epic though. I think I think it's gonna be something that makes a lot of people walk back their hate for the show.
Hmm.
Um, and I know that they're already, I mean, at least I think, I'm pretty sure like they have a green light already for season 2, or have like before this season ever came out. So
Hmm.
I really hope that because that means that they obviously intentionally set things up for a season 2. And I hope that we can get that season 2. I hope that,
Yeah.
the review bombing doesn't ruin us getting a season 2,
Because
because
I think, sorry.
like if what they're setting up, like where this is headed is going to be pretty nuts at the end of this season, and we're going to want a season 2 of that. So
Yeah, if
we'll
this
see.
sets up like Tenebris, like finding Plagueis or something like that, that would be absolutely bonkers. I would love it.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to happen next week? I mean,
So I think,
cards on the table. It's going to be the flashback episode,
yeah, it's the
unless
same director
something.
as episode 3. Like it's going to be flashback. Personally, I think the entire episode is a flashback episode. I don't think we're going to be cutting it
Yeah,
to anything. I think they're going to save everything present day. Like
for the last episode.
yeah, like everything hitting the fan will be during the last episode. I think all of next week, the entire episode is going to be just one big flashback. So that's my thought, because not only do we have to like get the events at the coven, but we need like the aftermath and stuff, and
and
like,
what actually, yeah, and what
you
actually
know,
happened. Yeah.
Kalnaka, and like, I mean, just like there's a lot during that flashback that we're gonna need to see. So yeah, I'm anticipating an entire flashback episode.
Yeah. And something that I've like, something I was thinking about earlier today is, unless they make this last episode like 45 minutes, which don't I don't think they're going to. We're gonna
Man.
have a bit of a we're gonna have a bit of a bad batch situation on our hands where everything's getting built up, built up, built up, built up, built up, and then they have one last episode to stick the landing. But the thing is, with Bad Batch, they successfully stuck the landing, and everyone was pretty happy about that last episode.
Mhm. I agree.
I don't think that's gonna happen here. They've got to make sure they got to make sure everything is tight on these last two episodes. Otherwise, this whole series is gonna go up in smoke. That's just my opinion.
Dude, I think they're setting things up really well. I think we're gonna be really happy with this
I
show.
want you to be right. I want you to be right because I've been.
I'm highly optimistic. We'll put
Yeah.
it
Oh
that way.
no. Me too. I've the only episode I thoroughly have not enjoyed was episode 3. That's the only one that I'm just kind of like,
That's so
eh.
funny, dude.
Like
I
it was.
really enjoyed episode 3. I feel like I'm the only one that thoroughly enjoyed it. No, like, seriously, like, I
Yeah.
really did. I loved Mother Anastasia. I thought she was a total badass. Um, like, just, like, very, like, regal and, like, controlled, but, like, dangerously powerful. Like, you could tell,
Yeah.
like, she's just, like, refined, and her composure, with the power, like, that was, again, so cool. I loved how she handled Osha's individualness as well.
Hmm.
Like, the whole, you can't make a decision out of fear, like, you need to do what you need to do. Like, that was just, like, really cool. And showed a side of the coven that, like, I don't think any of us would expect, like, how we would expect them to react.
Hmm.
That was cool, but
But
that
I
was
don't think she was. I don't think she was reacting as a member of the coven. She was reacting as
right.
an actual mother would have in that situation.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
so.
No,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
that's the only. I would, once this season is completely done with, I'm probably going to go rewatch the all 8 episodes and see if it like narratively makes sense from like 1 to 8 to see how everything pans out. But yeah, man, I think that about does it. So you got anything else?
Yeah, not really, dude. I'm trying to find, like, I feel like we got a, runtime release, like, before the show came
Yeah,
out, like, "Oh, this episode will be this episode will be this." I can't find that anywhere now, but I
yeah,
really, I'm also fingers crossed for, like, a 45 minutes minimum finale.
I would love it. I would love
We
it.
need a long finale.
Hmm. But
Yeah,
guys, well, first off, Ashton, again as always, thank you, my friend, for
dude. Yeah,
taking the time out of your schedule to come hang out with me. It's
always, yeah. I've got
always.
my baby monitor right here, got my coffee. I'm set for the night.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
But
always
yeah,
a
man,
pleasure.
it's you're one of my favorite guys to talk to.
Dude,
You're very knowledgeable. You're chill, and I mean, it's been fun, man.
thanks, man.
So guys, until next time, may the force be with you.